What's going on, ladies?
Hello.
Hello, nothing much.
Mm-mm.
I'm at the salon, so I'm just going to
I
be listening in.
forgot you did say you were gonna be there. Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, and I'm in the car, so sorry about that.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Just glad you ladies could join us. Okay. Mm, do, do. What? All right, Kristen is here. Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Kristen. How are you?
Hi, Renee. I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
Just giving it a couple minutes for people to hop on.
Yeah,
Hey,
of course.
Erica. Welcome.
Hey.
Feel like it's been a minute since I've seen y'all, but it really hasn't.
It does feel like
I
it's been a
think
minute.
October was just such a busy month. Like from our last
What
meeting,
did
there was so much that happened. It feels
what
like
did we read? I don't even remember.
what'd you say?
What did
So
we
what did we
read?
read?
The Wanda Morris.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, that does feel like that was a long time
It
ago.
does. I was
It
like, I
does
done
seem
been
like a
to
long time
Europe
ago.
and all kinds of stuff in between basketball tryouts. There was just a whole lot of
Yeah.
stuff happening. All right, a couple more jumping on here real quick, and then we can get started.
Where's everybody based? Renee, you're in Atlanta, right?
Atlanta, yes.
I'm in Greenville, South Carolina.
Waldorf, Maryland.
Orangeburg, South Carolina.
Yep, and these are pretty much our regulars. So we always join from wherever. We've been
Oh,
doing Zoom since the pandemic hit. That's kind of where this I used to go live on Instagram and pretty much be talking to myself, and then the pandemic hit and it was just more fun with people on there. So we've just resumed instead of me talking at them through the camera, it was more fun to have Zoom meetings. So um been doing this for a little minute. Okay.
that's great.
Yeah, it's been fun. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and get started. If they come on, I'll just accept as they come. Thank you, everyone, especially Kristen, for being here tonight. We are talking about We Don't Talk About Carol, our October book club selection. I'm so excited to have you here, Kristen. Major thanks to one of our members, Asia, who's not on here right now, I don't think. And then, of course, Miss Howell, as I call her. She's my children's seventh was my children's seventh grade teacher who made that connection for us. So I'm appreciative of everybody who was involved to make this happen. We are like so excited to have you. And this book was just amazing, kept me on my toes. And I think the sentiments go across the board that we absolutely loved it. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure. Thank you all so much for having me and for reading my very first published novel. It's like it's such an honor to have people actually like reading this book and
Yeah.
enjoying it. So conversations like this are like my favorite part of being an author. So thanks for having me.
No problem. And I heard you got to talk to my girl, Jamise Spines Vines, over the weekend. So that was exciting. She was mentioning,
Yes,
yeah, she's awesome. Someone I,
it was great.
yeah, in the book space for a long time now. Okay.
Also, really small world that your children's teacher was one of my classmates from high school.
It's because I think she told Asia, who's one of our book club members, about the book, and Asia kind of brought it to us. And then Caprice and I, we've become cool just with her teaching my kids last year. We've just become through Asia, we've hung out outside of school. I actually I didn't know her at the time, but right before school started, Asia had her 40th birthday party and she was there and we didn't meet at that time, but it was just kind of like so random. You're my kid's teacher this year and I just was in the same room with you. So
You're meant to be friends.
yeah, she's amazing. Such a cool, supportive human being. I love her to death. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll go ahead and kick this off. So what made you become an author? Like, what was the drive that made you want to start writing and take this path?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been a reader like my entire life. Like I just remember just spending so much time in the library with my mom and my younger sister, just spending hours and hours looking at books and going to the shelves and finding where my name would be one day. When I had a book of my own, it just for some reason I always imagined myself eventually writing a book too. Just I love reading so much that it seemed like a form of magic to be able to
Awesome.
write and create stories. So I've always wanted to do this. I wrote my first novel, I call it my practice novel, when I graduated, right after I graduated from college, years and years ago. No one should see that novel, but I learned a lot in the process of writing it, and then have spent a lot of time in the past several years practicing my craft, writing short stories, taking classes, things like that. And then when the pandemic hit, I realized, if I was going to write the novel that I've always wanted to write, there was no better time than during lockdown. So that's when
Yeah.
I started writing this book.
Wow. So how long did the process take from the pandemic to getting it published? I mean, obviously it was some time between that, but like I guess more so, how long did it actually take you to finish it from beginning to end and then get it to the publishers?
Yeah, so I think I probably spent maybe 2 years writing it. Then maybe another, it's so hard to remember now, maybe another 6 months to a year almost, like revising it. I had my book club friends read it and give me feedback. And then I went out to literary agents to see if I could get representation, since the majority of the bigger publishing houses don't accept manuscripts that aren't presented by a literary agent. So like, all in all, it took 5 years. I started writing it in May of 2020. It was published in June of this year. So quite the journey. And then I went through several rounds of revision as well with my editor at my publishing house before it came out. So it's definitely like a marathon, not a sprint, the
Yeah,
whole publishing thing. Maybe an ultra marathon.
that's awesome. So where did the idea for this story come from? Like, what was your inspiration to just sit down and write this story?
Yeah, so during those early pandemic days, I was taking a lot of walks around my neighborhood listening to true crime podcasts.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned about the really disturbing disparities when it comes to the way the cases of missing people of color are handled. That's when I really learned the sobering statistics about the fact that Black Americans are going missing at a disproportionately high rate, yet our cases are less likely to be covered by the press and are also less likely to be solved. And I've always found fiction to be a really great way of learning about the experiences of others and gaining empathy for the experiences of others. And I thought, if I was able to write a story that took this very real problem, but rooted it in a page turning mystery, that maybe it could, gain additional awareness for this issue and maybe open up some hearts and minds along the way.
That's awesome. Love that. Were there any parts of the book inspired by your real life or personal experiences?
So, I mean, very, very loosely, this is definitely a complete work of fiction. Sydney, the main character, my main character, and I, we share a lot of a lot of different similarities. So we both work in PR. We both kind of had a background in print journalism. She went much further into journalism than I did. I tapped out after my third college internship. I was like, "Oh, I'm a writer. I'm not a reporter. Those are two different things." We both live in LA. We both have family that's from the North Carolina area. We did both grow up with the kind of household motto of what happens in this house stays in this house for different reasons. But I was absolutely interested in exploring kind of um, how that mentality can have, it can come from a positive place of a family wanting to maintain its reputation, especially in a time, if they come from a time and a place where, you know, your good name is your greatest form of social capital. But often, you know, families aren't talking about things outside of the house, aren't talking about them inside the house either, and sort of the challenges that that can create for the people in those households, especially if they don't wind up eventually having those tough conversations.
Yeah, and I love the title "We Don't Talk About Carol," and I love how the grandmother like initially said that, like we don't talk about her, period. And it just, I think you just get so intrigued as like, okay, why not? What happened? Did you do something to Carol? What happened to Carol? What's Carol's story? So it just really opened the door as to like how intrigued I was in the story to figuring out who Carol was and what really happened to her and why aren't we talking about her? And I think there's so much symbolism in Carol's story and just not talking about the disappearance of so many missing Black women and children. Like it goes so deep, so much deeper than that. So it sounds
Yeah.
like Sydney was inspired by a lot of, you know, your personal experience and stuff like that. What character would you say was the hardest to write?
Hmm. Okay, this might be surprising actually, but it took me a while to figure out Malik's character.
Hmm.
I wasn't sure how supportive I wanted him to be. I wasn't quite sure because for a long, long time, I wasn't sure if I wanted Sydney to eventually decide to have a baby or not. So I was very much on the fence, and figuring that out was also really important in figuring out what would become of her and Malik's relationships. And so obviously Malik, you know, on their second date, is very open about his desire to become a father. And so, you know, her decision ultimately whether or not to have children would have a big impact on their relationship as well. So it took me a while. I think that he at some points was a really supportive character. At some points he was more of a challenge that she had to overcome. But I'm really glad with where where I wound up with them. Oh, so funny to hear that Keela had
Yeah.
a love-hate relationship with them. I'd love to hear more about that too. And
Yeah.
I welcome that. I wanted him to be a little. Everyone is a little bit complicated in this book.
Yeah. Keela, I don't know if you're in a place to be able to talk, but if you want to elaborate on that a little bit, I know
Yeah,
you're.
I can. There were some times when he was really supportive, and then other times where I was just like, "Come on, dude, you are getting on my nerves." You know, especially like with well when he was when she wanted to go to New York to see more about
Carol.
finding her cousin or whatever, and
Mhm.
he's like, you know, you're pregnant and you shouldn't, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. But then he's so loving and kind when he goes with her, so it was just love hate. It was just, yeah.
No, that's definitely fair. And that's what I was sort of trying to wrestle with too. There's a part of me that could understand where Malik was coming from, considering that he saw Sydney's
Right,
previous breakdown and
right.
how putting herself in a kind of similar situation impacted her in the past. But I definitely wanted to have Sydney speak up on several occasions about like, why is it okay for you to be super passionate about your like startup? And the second I'm passionate, like it's a, you know, you gotta,
It's
I
a
don't know,
different story.
it's a
Yeah.
different story, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely wanted there to be a bit of that tension.
Yeah, I loved her sense of independence, and I also love the fact that she wasn't so warm to being a mother. Like, because that's the reality for a lot of people. They don't necessarily know if they want to be a mother. That's not their dream. It's not the end all be all. Like, their careers are important to them. So I really love that aspect that it wasn't just like this perfect dream of we both want kids and, you know, have the house and the pretty, you know, picture that's painted. I love that she was kind of resistant to that.
I'm so glad you like that. And yeah, I feel like I've seen a lot of stories where the one of the characters, particularly the female character, is knows for sure that she doesn't want to have children. But like I don't feel like I see very often women on the fence wrestling with the decision. And I wanted to show that too, because I do think that it's very realistic. And a lot of us, you know, have had those questions and have experienced a lot of the questions that Sydney kind of explores in the book. And so I thought it would be good to demonstrate that and to have sort of the reversal. I feel like we often see in culture, like the woman really wanting to be a parent and maybe her husband is on the fence. So I was like, no, let's show this other very real dynamic where, you know, a woman isn't sure if she wants to become a mother or not.
Yeah, and a part of me wonder if she was like playing mind games with herself too. It's like she's having this struggle of conceiving. Is she preparing herself that in case it doesn't happen, oh, I'm good without having children? Maybe that's kind of why she was on the fence too, just in case, you know, she's already prepared for that too. So,
Yeah, it was complicated. I think with a lot of the things in the book, a lot of the aspects are complicated. She, you know, I was aware of the fact that people who come from traumatic childhoods are often uncertain about whether they want to become parents themselves, or whether it's like a fear of, you know, perpetuating certain patterns some negative patterns they experienced, or you know, and then also on the other side of it, just, you know, Sydney also really appreciating her freedom and her ability to like explore her ambitions and be a professional woman, and not wanting to give that up either. So I kind of wanted to have her explore all those different aspects when making that decision.
we have a couple comments, especially when the mother-daughter relationship wasn't the best. Uh-oh, these comments are coming in. Hang on. I like how you presented that well. As a woman that struggled with successful pregnancies, I definitely wondered if she was protecting herself. That is a real feeling. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too, is like,
Mm.
you know, maybe she's just preparing herself mentally that if this doesn't happen, she's prepared for that. Good.
I mean, I think that's part of it too. I mean, I have not gone through Sydney's experience, but when I started writing the novel, I was in my late 30s, and it was getting to the point where like everybody was asking, like people who knew me, people who didn't really know me, like, when are you gonna have kids? What are your plans?
Yes.
And I also just knew so many of my friends were going through IVF, and I knew they were probably getting those questions as well. And I was just thinking about like how invasive and insensitive it is for people to kind of like ask those questions, not understand. You have no idea what somebody might be going through. And I did imagine, you know, that she would also, as I often have, like looked at my life thinking, I see two paths. I
Hmm.
see the path of having children, and that's beautiful in its way. I see the other path that's beautiful in its way as well. And it is a form of just, you know, making peace with either, you know, scenario.
Outcome, yeah,
And I
whatever.
agree, Talisha. I hate that question too. I think people should be banned from
Oh, stop
asking
asking. Yes.
those questions. It's none of your
Yeah.
business.
Totally agree. And ladies, you guys can unmute and speak up. Like, don't feel like you have to write in the chat. This is open to you guys speaking. So whenever you have thoughts and feelings about the book, please chime in. Um, so when you were going through the writing process, did you write the book in order as it is played out,
Mm.
or did you kind of write this part and then figure out in what order that these parts were going to fall?
Um, I I mostly wrote it in order. Um, so the prologue where Grammy says we don't talk about Carol for the first time is literally the first thing that I wrote. Which is very unusual now that I'm working on my second book, which is like, I don't know, everything was written at completely different times. This one has always sort of had the same structure. The
Okay.
biggest change that happened though, when I started working with my editor at my publishing house, is she was the one who suggested I add diary entries from Carol. In our very first conversation, she was like, you know, Carol is such a central figure in this story, yet we never hear from her directly. You know, we only learn about her through things that Sydney learns secondhand from people who knew her. And as soon as she said that, I was like, nope, that has to happen. But it was very intimidating because, you know, because Sydney and I had so many similarities, it was easier for me to get into her head. But then
Mm.
I realized, okay, I have to get into the head of a 16-year-old girl in the 1960s and write, you know, first person diary entries from her. But I'm really glad she made that suggestion because I think it made a big difference in the book.
Yeah, I loved being able to go back in time and, you know, hear about what Carol was dealing with growing up and some of the other girls in those scenarios too. I am looking at some of the comments Topeka wrote. I told several people at church to get out of my uterus.
I love that.
That's
Please.
hilarious because, like, truly, mind your business.
Yes.
Let's see. Love the diary entries. Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of reading this too, and all
Ooh,
the
somebody has
songs.
an issue with the diary. I love hearing
Uh-oh,
issues
Lena, speak
too.
up.
I love I love diary entries in books, but this was hard because it felt like it wasn't going like if it were me, if I was Sydney and I had the diary, I would be reading
Mhm.
that whole thing right then from beginning to end. So the way that it was chopped up, I was like, okay, so how is this right here when no, it just was like oh, I would not I was it just didn't feel realistic. It felt to me like she would have sat and read the whole thing. So
I know it's
that's the
tough.
only thing. That's all.
As a reader too, I understand. I literally just finished reading a book where that had diary entries that were also sort of chopped up. I think the way that I tried to make peace with it or try to think of how to place them was at no point does Carol fully lay out what happened in
Yeah.
the diary entries. So it's not like Sydney's just even if she read it all in one sitting, would
Mhm.
necessarily have figured out the mystery by
Yeah.
finishing it. Because I get very annoyed when I read books
Mhm.
where that happens, where there's
Mhm.
so much detail in the diary entries where I'm
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't you just sit and read it one night? But it was so I try to think about maybe something that would have like a subtle hint or a little bit of an insight into like what she was thinking or
Mhm.
feeling versus, you know, a total clue that should have
Yeah.
allowed her to crack it. But I
Mhm.
hear you.
Yeah. But
To me, and also, I'm
overall.
sorry, it added to the mystery, to the journey of the story also, because
Mhm.
you would read a diary entry and take that for what it was, and then something else would happen. You'd be like, oh, wait, 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 she said that in the diary. So it was kind of a part of the
Yeah.
exploration.
And that probably was it because I was like so like, no, I want to know, it didn't help my anxiety. Okay. So
Yeah.
that might be why.
I think
That's
it
fair.
also added to the suspense because when Carol made her confession, her revelation, I had a verbal response. Like, like my husband was probably like, "Mm, she's either watching TV or reading a book." Because I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Same for me, except I was in an airplane and I literally had my headphones on and went, oh, my husband was like, what's wrong? What's wrong?
Yeah.
That was a it's funny because I didn't outline this book in advance. So like I didn't know where it was going for a really long time. And I realized the ending when I was out on a walk and verbally gasped, and I think I looked probably unstable to the people around me. So yeah, it surprised me too.
That's pretty good if you can make yourself gasp, you know.
I know it was
Narrating.
good. I don't know if I'll always have that experience while writing, but it was nice. I was like, oh, that's exactly what has to happen.
Yeah. And speaking of like listening to it, I listened to it as well as read the ebook simultaneously, but the audio narration was amazing as well. Can you tell us a little bit about the process of choosing the narrator? I think it was Nicole Cash. Is that what I just read?
Yeah, it's Nicole Cash, exactly. So yeah, it was wonderful. I mean, I had such a wonderful experience working with Bantam. They're my publishing imprint with a Penguin Random House. They were very thoughtful throughout the entire process and extremely collaborative. So when it was time to start working on the audiobook, their producer reached out to me and said, you know, it's really important to us that this book be narrated by a Black woman, just like your main character. So we're only going to provide you with narrator options that are Black women. I think they gave me 6 options and 6 samples to listen to. And the
Nice.
second I heard Nicole's sample, it was like I was hearing what had been in my head as I read it, while doing the entire writing process. So I was like, oh no, that's the one. If we can't get her, I'd be really upset. And thankfully, she was available, and she's such a lovely human also, and has been so wonderful and supportive. And I hope I get to collaborate her again with her again in the future.
Yeah, that's amazing. Benita Rowe, for a little while, I thought Sydney's father did it. Him, and then Michael gave me weird vibes from the jump. There was just something about him that I didn't quite trust. I'm like,
Fair.
yeah, he felt a little off to me for some reason from the jump. So, but Sydney's father's a good one too, because yeah, he definitely had some issues going on in it. Him hanging out with Michael and what was the other guy? Raymond? Is that his name?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they something was off between the three of them. So yeah, I could have seen any number of them. Of course, Carol being involved in the way that she was a shocking twist, and even being alive too. It was like you're expecting the worst. We're trying to figure out what happened to Carol. Is she dead like these other girls are? She's been missing, and a part of me was like, oh, she got away. Like I love that she was able to escape and live her life, but it sucks that, she's disconnected from her family and everything too, to escape. But when you're young and you've committed this murder and you're going through all of this, yeah, you expect the worst. And I guess running away probably would have been my choice as well.
Yeah, I think that the Carol piece is definitely very controversial. People have a lot of complicated feelings about Carol, understandably so. And I wanted people to kind of have complicated feelings, because even me, like having written and created this character, I have so much sympathy for teenage Carol, who was manipulated by Michael, who, he told her that if she, said anything that he was going to involve, try to pin it on her brother. I completely understand like why she would have run. The
Oh, yeah.
thing that I have trouble with is the fact that she never said anything. Like
Yeah.
down the line, I just wish, like, girl, like, why couldn't you have just sent in like an anonymous tip or something? Like within the 50 years that have passed. That's the
Yeah.
part that I even have trouble with. But yeah, I enjoy reading about and writing characters who aren't, true heroes and aren't true villains, but are a bit complicated. And Carol is definitely one of those.
Yeah. She definitely, yeah, had some stuff going on on for sure. And her son was in complete shock. Obviously, he didn't know any of this stuff. So he's like finding out a lot in just, a span of a couple of days, like, oh, I have this whole family that exists. And then my mom did what? And she's been missing. And just, yeah, putting all of that together too is a lot for him to process. And he needed time to kind of sort that out. It's
Yeah,
like,
poor Wesley.
yeah, all of these characters kind of had issues with, none of Sydney's relationships were easy by any means. Even her mother, and then her sister, like there's just so much going on between all of these family members.
So
Yeah.
Carol's complicated, and
Mm.
but like you said, you think about the teenage Carol and all the fear that she had. Like, if I don't go along with this, they're gonna kill me on the spot. So that was one thing. But I also had to admit to myself that if they threaten my brothers, I'm doing it too. Because my brothers are everything to me. And if you threaten my brothers, and especially as a teenager, I'm doing the same
Yeah.
thing. And then I'm running and I'm not talking. Like you said, she could have done an anonymous tip. So, that's one thing. And then with Wesley, I'm not telling on my mother. It's a shock, but I'm not telling on my mother. So
I
that
was
is
really
that is
glad.
very complicated. And I liked because it was very real. Like, what do you
Mm.
do in those situations? You don't really read about that a whole lot.
And honestly, she had the perfect cover story. Like, oh, I'm gonna run away anyways and go have
Hmm.
this career in Detroit and become famous. And so people just assume that that's either she ran away or, she's really dead, but it could have been
Hmm.
either or. Now, as the mother, I probably would have been trying a little harder to figure out which which one of
Yeah,
those were true.
yeah.
Um, yeah, because even just knowing that my child is missing for whatever reason, that's tough to have that running through your head. And I can understand why she wouldn't want to talk about Carol. It's just probably brings up a lot of bad memories and ill feelings and stuff she just didn't
Yeah.
want to deal with. So
But wait a minute. She knew that Carol wasn't harmed because she watched Carol
Oh,
leave.
that's right. She did. She did say she thought that she saw her mother
She
in
was
the
at the
window.
window and she was like, if she comes out to get me, I won't leave or something like that. And her mom never moved the curtains again.
I forgot about that part with the
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Good call, Keela.
Which was crazy. Everybody in this book was crazy. I just
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nobody had a simple relationship. Like
nobody.
everybody's relationship was complicated to some extent,
I
from her
even
sister to
for a
her
minute,
dad to her mom. Like there was just a lot going on.
Right.
for
And
a
even
split
like her
second,
mom,
I almost even thought her mom, I thought Sydney's mom was involved somehow because she was acting real sus for
I
a
did
what?
second.
too.
I was like, do
And
you
not
think
wanting to
the
talk about it, right? She was like, if
Yeah.
your
mother's
grandmother doesn't want to talk about it, then
Like you
don't
weren't
talk
even
about
there, really, woman. That's what I was mad at her.
it.
Because you weren't
Right.
even there. You weren't
Right.
even in the
Don't you want
picture
to
yet.
know? Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Sydney
LaShawn
had
did
a
ask
lot of obstacles.
LaShawn did ask the question, did you know that Carol was alive from the beginning?
Mm-mm. No, that's the part that I think that's the first part that surprised me. Yeah, when I took my little walk and I was like, oh wait, what if Carol were alive and what if she were somehow involved?
Mm,
Um, I think obviously, Carol was definitely a victim in her own way of, of Michael's manipulation and all of that for sure. Absolutely. I think I think there was some part of me that wanted to kind of complicate her being purely a victim, though, and like for her to have, even though she was absolutely manipulated, she had some agency
mm,
technically in it. And I just thought that was a little bit more interesting. I think especially after reading, learning about the five other girls a bit more and their experiences. Some part of me didn't want her write like the sixth story to also just be a cut and dry victim situation. I wanted there to be something a little bit more complicated about it. Felt like a little bit more interesting to me, like as a reader, even.
yeah. It's good. Lena says, I don't want to take us off subject, but Wesley having, I lost it. Hang on. Wesley having a 3-year-old twin, or having 3-year-old twins at 60 years old threw me off. It seemed like that was a theme.
Oh,
It seemed like there was a lot of like the ages of people with their kids was, it just seemed like everybody was having kids younger. I mean, older,
Older.
not just him.
mm,
Because Michael with his teenage daughter,
that's true.
and I'm just thinking about like I'm 55, my mom is 76 or 77, and she would be the same age as like Michael and because she graduated in 66.
Mm.
So I'm thinking about our age, and then their kids are just now having kids. I mean, it just seemed like everybody was,
Yeah, twins at 60 is
yeah,
wild. I had
yeah.
twins, twins in my 20s, and I can't even imagine chasing them around at 60. That's great. That's like my mom as a grandma right now in her
Yeah.
60s, like chasing a 3-year-old twins. That's crazy.
Mm.
That's so funny. Let's see. Yvonne, Michael's sister, knew Carol. Okay. Talisha said, I thought Yvonne, Michael's sister, knew Carol was alive and was trying to protect her by trying to scare
Mm.
Sydney off. Yeah, a lot
Yvonne is
of people were
another
sus. Sus.
a
They were all
lot.
sus.
Yvonne was very sus.
Yeah.
Yvonne, I think like the two biggest like controversies like that come up in like conversations with people are usually around Carol and how they feel about Carol and like Yvonne and like what did she know? So in my mind, Yvonne didn't know for sure that Mike, I don't think that she actually even fully believed that he did something, but I think like her big sister, protective future lawyer self was just wanted to make sure that nothing ever potentially came back to on her brother. Like being Carol's boyfriend, it's often the boyfriend is the first person they look at. She also like she didn't care for Carol. She thought that she was a bad influence on her brother. Yeah, so in my mind she didn't know for sure, but she definitely didn't want any eyes to come back to him or her family either.
Keela said she wanted to slap her.
I mean, she's very slappable. Like,
I
she's probably
agree.
the least likely character. I mean, besides, Michael and Raymond, probably one of the least likely people I would want to like take out for a drink or
Yeah.
have a conversation with. Yvonne is just not a very likable person.
Yes. Craziness. Do do do. Any other thoughts, just in general, or commentary while I go through?
One other thing that was so crazy to me in the book was the fact that Sydney kind of um, put that whole situation with her father and driving off the cliff out of her mind so deep that it was bothering her on a level, but she didn't know what was going on, the way she was reacting to the thing that happened in California or whatever. And then when her sister revealed, like, what happened, and I was mad at her sister and mom, because if you know your sister or daughter is going, she had a nervous breakdown, but you didn't think to mention that this had happened before, that could have helped her so much more quickly than it did. I was just mad at them for that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think I was definitely interested in having Sydney have those kind of repressed um, memories and traumas. I don't think that Sasha realized that Sydney had blocked it until that conversation at the restaurant. I am not making excuses for why they didn't go up to San Francisco and visit her in the hospital, though, because like you could have driven. There's
Yeah,
like no excuse for that. That was
that's true.
crazy.
Yeah.
But I do think that Sasha was like actually confused about why that the fact that Sydney didn't remember that moment.
Well, I will give Sasha a pass, but I'm not giving the mom a pass. I'm not
Fair.
doing
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely. She does not deserve a pass. Grace does not deserve a pass.
But I did appreciate you touching on the siblings, like, because I have a twin sister, and there's things that she remembers that I have no recollection of. And she'll be like, I can't believe you don't remember, like there was this thing we both had to go to court and talk to a judge. And she was describing that whole thing. And I do not remember it at all. But I'm sure I was there with her. And she told me I was there with her in the room, but I don't remember it all. So this is just something I blocked. And that's the same, that brought to my mind when I heard, when I saw Sasha and Sydney, talk about it. So that was, I'm like, okay, this really does happen to people, that lived in the same
Yeah.
environment, but they have two different memories.
That wasn't, yeah, I completely agree. I've had similar conversations with my sisters as well, where, either we don't remember certain things happening or we remember it completely differently,
Mhm.
or took, something, had completely different takeaways from the experience. And I was really interested in showing that. And it is part of why sibling relationships are so complicated.
Yeah.
It's like you can grow up in the same house, but you can have completely different experiences or memories or takeaways, and you can also just become totally different people. And
Mhm.
I feel like sisters in particular have so much kind of like pressure on the relationship. There's like this expectation that if you're sisters, like you're supposed to be like best friends for life, and you could be completely different people though. And it's also difficult to break the patterns or like the kind of relationship you had. Like I'm technically a middle sibling, though my older sister is 12 years older than me. We grew up in different houses. My younger sister and I, though, she's 3 years younger. I catch myself sometimes still talking to her the way Sydney talks to Sasha. But I have to remind myself, like, she's your little sister, but she's not a kid anymore. Like, you gotta relax.
Yeah. I think I love though that the relationships were complex between almost everybody.
Mhm.
Nothing was picture perfect, and to me, that's more realistic of how we live and the relationships that we have in our lives. Like, nothing is just you know
Yeah,
picture perfect.
simple. Mm-mm.
Were there any surprises along the way that you didn't expect as a debut author?
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, there have been so many surprises. One of the really good ones though was I didn't realize like how supportive other authors would be. Like there
Mm,
is no sense of competition or anything at all. It's like the second you become like part of this club. People are like, how can I help you? You know, like, and it's been really, that's been really nice to see. So I have a full-time job. I work in PR. I've worked in PR for over 20 years. You know, it has not always been that experience, on the PR side of things.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see. And then I guess the other thing that surprised me is in some ways publishing works or moves very slowly. And then on the other hand, it moves very fast. So like deadlines to turn around new drafts of a book, you might only get like a month to turn around an entirely new draft where, before you have the book deal, you can spend years working on a
There's no
story.
pressure. It's on your time at that point. Now it's like, okay, we want more.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, there's a contract. Shoot.
Yeah.
So that part's been like a bit of an adjustment.
Yeah, wow. Can you talk a little bit about the cover art? Because to me, this is just, it's beautiful. Flowers, everything about it is just spectacular. How did this come to be? Did you have a concept in your head of what the cover art was going to look like, or did a graphic designer just kind of come up with some concepts and you decided?
Yeah, I mean, it was great when we got closer to publication, my editor reached out to me and asked if I had any ideas or if I had any like examples of covers I really like or things that I really don't like in covers. And so like I made them a little PowerPoint presentation.
Oh,
Um, that's what I do. I told them though, I was like, you all are the experts. I know there's so many like factors that go into deciding on a cover. They probably have data on like which colors appeal to which readers, stuff like that. But I did have one suggestion, and it was, this a moody close up of blue hydrangeas, because that's sort of kind of a big visual element in the story. And I was so surprised when they came back to me with I think like 5 different concepts, but they all centered on like blue hydrangeas in some way. So yeah, we were very aligned. The book has always had this title. Like it's always been this title from like when I first started writing it. The cover, that part has really clicked as well. So I feel really fortunate that we've been on the same page, my
yeah.
publishing team and I.
All of the pieces kind of fall together. Because I know some
Yeah.
authors, it's not that simple. There's a lot of back and forth and what concepts and covers and what they should look like, and even trends. Like, you see a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
even authors revamp their covers where if they're romance, they had real people on there, and now it's more of the cartoony kind of
Hmm.
vibes that are going on. So, yeah, that's very cool.
I feel really fortunate.
Yeah. It gives the moody vibes, like you said. It's like it's spot on. Um
And that the whole like burned out
yeah,
light bulb, that was
I
their
didn't notice that
idea.
until 2 seconds ago. I was looking at it and I'm like, am I seeing things, or is that bulb really, I don't know if y'all can see, but yeah, it's over the T, but yeah, it's like the it's burnt out, and I was like, am I seeing things? That's the first time I noticed that it was
I was
burnt
like,
out.
I like that little detail, like, ooh, something's off. Pretty flowers, but something's off. I'm like, yeah, you get the vibe. My mom is mad at me though, because she loves blue hydrangeas, and she's like, now you ruined the meaning of them.
Oh,
It's like, sorry.
that's hilarious. I'm such a flower girl too. That totally wouldn't bother me at all. I'm like, love them anyways. That's so funny. If this were to become a movie adaptation, do you have any
Mm.
thoughts on characters and who would play certain people, or even just maybe Sydney?
Sydney's the hardest one. Like I've heard a couple people say like maybe Journey Smollett, and I was like, yeah, maybe.
That's
I
a good
do.
one.
I feel like that's the best one I've heard so far for
Yeah.
Sydney, because
Who has
before I
become
was
a hit.
like, I have no idea, but that one feels good. Jay Ellis has always been Malik in my head. Like he's on my little mood board
Yeah,
for the book.
I love that.
I think maybe Carol is like Lynn Whitfield.
Mm,
That's always been
like the
uh
mother.
yeah, for Carol. That I feel like
Oh,
that
for
was
Carol. Yeah, yeah,
Carol.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
somebody just earlier this week said Felicia Rashad for Sydney's mom. And I was like, oh, I really like that one.
Those are some good ones. I'm
Yeah.
Or
trying to think.
Pauletta Washington, maybe, for
Oh.
her mom.
As in like is that you talking about Denzel's wife? Yeah, that's a good
You
choice.
guys see her? She's the mom in the HBO.
Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah, Reasonable Doubt.
I didn't even realize
Um,
that. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a
that's
good.
I
her.
could see it. I could see
Wow.
Yeah,
it.
that's her. That's her.
I could see it. It's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. Okay, now we just need to get this pushed to be a movie adaptation.
I know. Like, we gotta
Because it's
put
a great
the
story. Like there's just so much to it. Like it could literally work anywhere. You could put it on Lifetime, Netflix, Hulu, whatever. It could all work. Make it a TV series.
I
Um,
love it. Put
yeah.
that in on the universe.
We're gonna manifest that. Yeah. It was like who we
Yeah.
can talk to push this idea. Like
I
start
really
tapping.
like it as a series. I really like it as a series and rather than a
That
movie.
series would be good.
Me too. That's my dream. That's my dream. Because I just feel like otherwise a movie would be just really difficult to get all the different storylines
Yeah.
incorporated
Yeah.
fully, you
You do that
know?
over time with episodes. Because honestly, I would love to see more about Michael, honestly, from his perspective, see things, maybe even the murders and things and how they went down from his perspective. Um, him being arrested, what happens to him maybe afterwards, even take the story a little bit further too. There's so much.
Yeah.
And more of Carol's perspective too. That would be interesting.
That would be nice. That'd be nice to see it. I think Carol's perspective instead of just the diary entries.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, so Lena said give it to Reese Witherspoon.
Yes. I'm like, please, Reese, come on. One of these people.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing with the stuff that she
She
does.
would love
Not a
this.
bad idea. We need to start tagging her. Just
Yeah.
start on social media. Get all of Bookstagram and everybody to just start tagging and putting stuff. Because yeah, she's a good one to like actually make these things come to reality. So
It's true. It's true.
any other commentaries? I'm gonna shift gears a little bit and but I wanted to if anybody had any thoughts about the book and how amazing it was
Thank
before.
you all so much too, just for reading and for being so engaged and asking such wonderful questions.
Oh, no problem. We love this. We love having authors on here. It's just special for us. So we're so glad that you were able to join us. But I do like to kind of ask some fun questions too for you as a writer and just a human being in general. Um, what does your writing process look like? Are you like in a library? Are you locked down? Do you have snacks? Are you drinking wine? Like, how do you get into that zone of wanting to write?
Yeah, I'm usually in this room. If my camera wouldn't act crazy, I would do a little spin, but it's like I'm surrounded by bookshelves. I can see
Yeah.
all my books and everything, which is nice. There's like this wall right now is crazy because it's just covered with post-it
Oh,
notes
I love that.
for my edits for my second book. But
Yeah.
I usually write really early in the morning before my day job and on the weekends. I usually have like a candle going or my scent diffuser.
I love
I
that.
almost always have like a big thermos of coffee or like tea if it's the afternoon.
Yes.
And then always like a good like instrumental playlist that fits the vibe of whatever I'm writing. I can't listen to words
Yeah, that's me
while
too.
I'm I
Tracking. I
can't
can't
do
write,
it.
and it has to be like nothing. Yeah.
It has to be nothing but like but I love a good instrumental playlist, like whatever fits the vibe. Like if I'm writing a creepy scene, I'll scare myself sometimes. So if I'm writing a creepy scene, I'll listen to like the Jordan Peele's soundtrack.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Soundtracks are great for that. Yeah, that's usually that and like noise canceling headphones, and then I can get right in the zone. Snacks too, yes. I have like a whole snack drawer dangerously close
Oh,
to
you have a
me.
drawer. That's some
Oh
serious
yeah.
business.
Oh yeah. I'm like sometimes I'm locked in here for hours, so I've got to have options.
Yeah, that's awesome though. What are some of your favorite authors or biggest writing influences?
Ooh, favorite authors. So there's so many. When I think about the books that I own the most of, like Toni Morrison,
Mm,
major fan. She's such a huge inspiration. And
oh,
then when I think of like more recent authors, so like when I think about suspense and thrillers, I always think about Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone
mm,
Girl. I
yep.
think about that book all the time just because like that twist was so shocking, but so satisfying, you know, because sometimes you'll read a twist and it doesn't feel like the author earned it, or it feels like it came so far out of nowhere that like you don't buy it. But that was shocking, but felt super earned.
Yeah, that was good.
So I think about that a lot. And then The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett.
That's a good one.
Such a good, also there's like a mystery element to it, but also really good family drama and like sisterhood dynamics. So those are some of the tops.
That's awesome. Those are good choices too. What are you currently reading?
Ooh, I'm reading so many things. So I just started reading The Wilderness by Angela Flournoy. Oh, LaShawn,
I've
you
seen the
reading it
book, but
too?
yeah, I haven't.
Listen, I made sure I was on because that is what I intend to ask this group. Who is reading this right
I just started reading it.
now?
I'm gonna start it before the end of the year.
I think
Yeah.
I read it in September or maybe last month. It was good. It was good.
And now y'all are gonna make me bump that up on my TV. I've seen it floating around on Bookstagram and stuff, so
Well, my question was going to be who's reading it, and is it taking you as long as it's taking me to get through it? Not in a
Ooh.
bad way though. Not that it's bad. It's just um it feels meaty to me. Like, but I love the premise. It's just taking me a while to get through it, and I'm listening and reading. So that might be maybe I need to switch to one format for me.
You know, there's another book. Oh, it's going to bother me that I can't think of it. There's another book I read earlier this year that also took me really a while to get through. And it was also centered on a group of Black friends. It was by the author who wrote Americana. I'm going to find it.
and
Dream Count. Dream Count. It was called Dream Count. And it was also like a really meaty book about friends, but I thought that I was going to fly through it a lot faster than I actually did.
Is it Chimamanda or something like that?
yeah,
Yes,
that
Okay.
book is
yes.
sitting on
Yeah.
my shelf way across the
Yeah.
room.
Americana is like one of my favorite books of all time. So
I know, me too. I know,
okay.
me too. That's why I thought that I was going to fly through the
Yeah.
next one, and
And you're
I
not
still really
okay.
liked it. I still really liked it, but it took me a while longer. But yeah, I'm excited to keep going with the wilderness. Mhm.
That sounds good. I'm adding that to my list of things because I've seen it floating around and people have seemed to have good things to say about it. So, um, what's next for you? Can you talk a little bit about the next book that you're writing and when we can expect it?
Yeah, so if everything goes according to plan, which who knows, hopefully next summer it'll be out at some point. And the reason why I'm really interested in novels about Black female friendships and female friendships in general is the next book it's a standalone suspense, but instead of suspense and family drama, this will be a suspense and a friendship drama. Um, because yeah, I feel like sometimes like close adult female friendships like aren't given the same like weight as romantic relationships, you know, in culture. But sometimes like there are our deepest and longest and most important, you know, relationships. So I was interested in kind of exploring that dynamic a bit more. So more to come, but that's like a little hint at what's happening.
You have a deadline already set of like when you need to turn that draft in?
It's funny. I just turned in the second draft on Sunday.
Okay.
So it's happening, and then I might be getting. I'm like looking at my calendar. I might be getting the next round of edits back from my editor November 21st. So I'm just going to enjoy these next couple of weeks of not being on deadline and maybe catch up on my reading a little bit and my sleeping because last week was a lot of 12-hour days.
I can imagine.
At the desk.
So were you writing this before we don't talk about Carol launched, or is this something that you got contracted with the publisher and then started writing?
Yeah, so I started writing this new book when I started reaching out to literary agents for Carol. And I'm really, really glad that I did. I was really fortunate and surprised to sign a 2-book deal with my publisher. I didn't think that was going to be on the table because, you know, We Don't Talk About Carol as a standalone novel. I didn't think they would ever ask for like the second one immediately like that. And we barely talked about the idea for this, my second book, you know, when we signed the contract. And so I'm also just really glad that my editor liked the idea for the second book that I'd already had started working on. We've kind of changed some aspects of it from its original form, but the heart of it is still the same. And I have so many author friends now who've had different experiences where, like, they pitched ideas to their editor and their editor didn't really like them. So they go back to the drawing board. So I'm really glad that they liked something that was already in the works.
Yeah, it's funny. I did a author talk with E.B. Zaboy a couple of weeks ago, and because it's the 250th anniversary, or is it the of Jane Austen's, or it's her birthday, Jane Austen's 250th birthday anniversary, and so we were talking about Pride because it's a remix of Pride and Prejudice, and I kind of was asking her about the concept of the book and how it came to be, and um, it really wasn't her idea. She was like, I wanted to write romance, and the publisher basically told her, if you're gonna write romance, you have to do it this way, and it has to be based on a traditional novel and kind of, remix it. So if it was up to her,
Wow.
she would have written something completely different, but they kind of pushed her to go down that avenue of remixing a classic novel, is what they told her. They wanted her to remix it. So it's funny, like you said, like publishers, that's awesome that you got to kind of keep the concept of your second novel, because yeah, some of them are like, you have to do it this way if you want to do it. And it's kind of like, she actually said that that's her, of the books that she's released, that's her least favorite, because she was so forced to, like,
Mm.
and it's an amazing book too. Like, I just,
Yes, it's
read it.
so good. I
It's so
love
good, but
it.
she straight up on stage, and I'll send y'all the interview when it's when it comes live. But she straight up was like, "Yeah, it's my least favorite," because she was so forced
Wow.
into writing about a classic novel and not doing it the way that she wanted to do it. So yeah, it was
I
interesting.
mean, I can understand it in some of my conversations that I've had recently with my author friends. We talk about this a lot, actually. Like, it's a blessing in a lot of ways to have to sign a deal for a book that's not written yet, because you have the security of knowing that someone's interested, someone's planning on publishing it. Because a lot of people, you're writing novels before you get an agent, before you get the book deal, not knowing if anyone will ever actually read it. And there's so much time and effort and energy that goes into writing that book. But when you're writing the book just for yourself, it's, there's no one, you're not having to write to anyone else's opinions or wants or needs. So it's really true to yourself. And it is interesting when you start getting additional voices, kind of pushing you in a direction. If it's not one that you are fully on board with, I can imagine it being really, really tough.
Yeah. Just a sidebar on you mentioning your author friends. Is there anybody that you admired or loved their work, read their work, and now you've become friends with?
Oh my God, yes. So when I was talking about like authors being super supportive, the first example that always comes to mind is Lauren Ling Brown. She wrote Society of Lies.
Okay.
I really liked that book. It was a Reese's book club pick. I followed her on Instagram, and then she followed me back. I think especially like when you are able to say like, I have a book coming out soon in your bio, then like authors start following you back, which is just wild, because like these are like my rock stars. So that was also, that's always shocking. And she was doing an event in LA with another author, and I came to it, and she recognized me from Instagram when I like came into the signing line, and she was like, hey, I saw that you have a book coming out soon, congratulations, let me know if you'd ever like to meet for coffee and just talk about publishing. And then she wound up being my conversation partner at my launch event. So that's a wild one, where like I started
Yeah.
out being like a fan and admiring her, and like now like we have each other's cell phone numbers and like met for coffee like a few times since then.
That's so cool. I will say, in doing this whole Bookstagram book club thing, like, authors in our minds are like celebrities, but they're some of the most chill, coolest people. Like, they're so down to earth, willing to come on lives and book club chats and email you and DM you or send you something. And they're some of the most down to earth people that you wouldn't expect. You think that oh, these are celebs. They don't have time to talk to you and like, but they love it. They're so personable. And it's just, I've met so many and every single person has just been amazing and so willing to even just come on like yourself, like come on to our book club chats and just, discuss things with us. So we're really appreciative of authors like yourself. It's been
I
awesome.
mean, it's like when you're able to start living a dream you've had for years and years and years, it's such a honor to have people who don't know you reach out and say that like, A, they're reading your book,
Yeah.
what? And then B, they want you to actually like join for a conversation to talk about it. It's like such a privilege. And so, yeah, I think that's why you get that response because you write for years not knowing again if like anyone's going to care, if anyone's going to like it. So when people reach out asking for you to participate in things like this, it means a lot.
Yeah. That's awesome. I have two questions left from me. Are there any other genres that you can see yourself writing in the future?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, I don't know if I can pull this off, but I would love to write a book about space at some point, like
Hmm.
set in space. Like maybe it's a suspense set in space. I don't know. Like I'm not. I'm like I think that it would just be. I have a fascination
Yeah,
with space. I think it'd be really a big challenge though, but it'd be fun.
very cool. You can check out the supermoon for y'all people who are into astrology. The
Oh, that's
moon is
right.
huge. We came home. I was picking my daughter up from practice just before we got here on the chat, and yeah, the moon is huge right now. It's the closest it's going to be to the Earth all year. So when you look outside, it's going to be massive.
I want to check it out. And Kira, I like that you like the good space story. Excellent.
Yeah, we're
Like
down for the space stories.
early reader.
Yeah. I'm just looking at LaShawn. You tell me four friends, and I think I'm gonna fly through it. Womp womp. That book is saying slow and steady, girl.
Yeah, I know, me too. That's why like I'm really hopeful. Like my book club friends are currently reading the second book. Because I need feedback from people besides my editor to like tell me if it's good or like what needs to be fixed. And I really hope that they tell me that they're flying through it because that's what I want from a friendship
Yeah,
story too.
that's what we did with this one. So I'm certain it will be the same with the second one. And my
I hope
last
so.
question for you is what do you want readers to know about you beyond the pages of your work?
Oh, uh, hmm. I don't know. I guess just why is that such a hard question to answer?
And it can be anything.
I mean, when I'm not writing, which is most of the time, or working, I also just like I'm a gym rat. I'm like I'm trying to I love going to the gym. I love lifting heavy. I think
Yes.
my
That's
deadlift PR right now is 305 pounds.
oh
Makes me
my
feel really
gosh.
powerful.
That's
Yeah.
wild. Oh my gosh. Look, I'm like a kid in
I'm
a
a big
candy store. This
proponent of like strength training for women, like
yes.
especially as we get older, it's so important. So
Yes.
yeah, I've seen a lot of really disturbing discourse actually from authors being like, you can have so much more time to write when you stop trying to exercise. And I'm like, nah,
Oh, that's an important.
if anything, we need to do more. You're spending so much time at the desk. I'm like, yeah, you
Yeah,
got to balance
no.
that out.
That's a necessity for my day. The first thing I do is wake up, roll out of the bed, and then I'm like I did legs today. So yeah, I totally love strength training. I actually had back surgery a couple of months ago in
Oh my
July. So
gosh.
I'm like the biggest disappointment in that was not being able to lift. And I'm like, do you know how many years I've been working to like get to this weight and be able to deadlift this and do this? And now I'm just sitting here doing nothing because I can't lift more than 10 pounds. That was the most excruciating 4+ weeks of my life not being able to lift heavy when I'm used to like I played collegiate softball too. So I've lifted since I was in 10th grade. Like, you
Oh my gosh.
lifting heavy. So that probably is the hardest thing is not being able to like someone telling you you can't hinge at your back. I'm like, well, what can I do? What do you lunges? Like what? That was really tough. But yeah, I get it. There's no better feeling than like lifting heavy and having that accomplishment of lifting weights or riding a bike or doing whatever. It's such a good feeling.
Girl,
I completely
I've been
agree.
quiet this whole time, and I'm normally chatty, but I read your book months ago, and I don't remember what it's about because I've read 81 books since then. But 300 pounds. So
I
I'm
know, it's
sitting here
crazy.
quiet, and all I thought was, if she want to fight my baby daddy, just say that. Because why are you lifting 300 pounds? You
Yeah.
must
Because I
want to fight my
can.
baby daddy.
That's right, look, because I can.
Because I
No,
can.
no, because you want to fight my baby daddy. Oh, I can't wait for you to beat him up. I can't wait.
I also box, Erica.
Ooh,
So
I
I
love
got
that.
you.
Please tap his chin with all 300 pounds of strength, please, because
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
I don't know that I could do 300 pounds in my wildest dreams.
I
You
feel like my back
can.
would collapse at this point trying to do that.
It shocked me too, but I also had a surgery last year, Renee, and I completely agree. When I was like not able to lift more than like 10 pounds, it was so tough.
Yeah, just like
Put a
4
pause
weeks,
on
10
it.
pounds. I'm like, can I even like lift a gallon, like, of milk? Like, what does that even feel like? 10
I
pounds?
know.
So
It's
That's
crazy.
amazing. That's an amazing personal record. I hope you did something special to celebrate it.
Thank you. Did I? I definitely
I'm here
celebrated
for you.
myself. I was very proud of myself. And LaShawn, I agree about the Peloton strength classes. When I work out at home, they're so good. Adrienne Williams is my favorite for those. I
Really?
love those classes.
I do, especially for leg day. Adrian is one that I'll take. I did Rebecca though. Rebecca is like, she's my one of my favorites. So I took Rebecca this morning.
But my Peloton is really tired of me right now because I used to cycle a lot and I can't cycle right now. Kind of same situation, Renee. I have an injury that I need to have surgery for and I'm putting it off. So there's things I can't do, but I can lift some stuff and toss it down when I'm done with it. So that's what I'm trying to go heavy and heavier. I ain't at 300 pounds though.
I know, that's wild. I'm
No.
like, I need to get back to that. That's
Yes.
that's insane right now. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I just feel like I put in the chat, every single Black woman, I'm telling them all, go and lift some stuff to deal with what's going on in the world. And the fact that you said, because I can, like that's a feeling we all need right now. So
Yes.
go do it because you can, and then walk like you did it because you can. So
Right. And
really
that's
is.
true because my thing is I started walking. I never thought I was gonna be a fitness bitch, but
Yeah.
I am. And I walk for pleasure. I get up and I walk, and I wore a weighted vest yesterday. This past weekend, I walked 10 miles because I can.
Yep.
Because I keep
Yes.
telling people I'm not gonna be 50 and fat, and 50 is around the corner, and I will not be 50 and fat because I can.
That
So
part.
let's put that on a t-shirt.
Yes. Also, 10 miles is a very impressive walk.
Yeah.
Oh my
It is
gosh.
very,
Yeah,
very.
she's come a long way, like even just increasing her mileage and stuff like that, and watching her lose weight and just become a baddie. And actually, like we used to text and talk about it all the time, but then she started going public with her journey, and it's just she's motivated a lot of people. So it's been pretty awesome to see her journey of losing weight and accomplishing what she has. That's been pretty
Very
cool.
impressive.
Thank you. But my hobbies are reading and walking.
I love that. Do you listen to audiobooks? Because that can go like hand in hand.
Yeah, I do listen to audiobooks when I walk. And and so many people are like, "Oh, what songs do you listen to?" And I'm like, "I don't. I listen to books." Like,
Me too. If I'm walking outside, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm telling, because I like psychological thrillers, and when they're about to catch the killer, I walk so fast.
He's chasing you, huh?
Michael Myers will not catch me because I walk so fast when they're about to catch the killer.
I'm dying laughing because I watch these Instagram videos where someone is in the office dressed as like Michael Myers and they're trying to like unlock
Get
the
away
door
from him.
real quick
I saw that.
and get in there. Yeah. And I'm like, you're not moving fast enough. Like, you just gotta remain calm. Like, forget that he's there. Just get the door unlocked and be done with it. Hilarious. Any other questions, ladies? I know we're at time, but wanted to see if you guys had any final questions or thoughts.
No, that's a great book, great talk. I like historical fiction, so this was like right up my alley.
Yay. I'm
Yeah.
so glad.
Yeah.
And I do want to say I don't like historical fiction, and this was one of those.
I knew that.
Someone said you got to read this. It's 5 stars, and you must read it. And this is from someone who does not like historical fiction. this book blew me away. And like I said, I've read a lot of books since then, so I don't remember much with the plot twist, but I just remember how it made me feel and I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so important. That's
Yeah.
what I want everyone to have is like that good feeling, when they think back on the reading experience.
Mhm.
Well,
Christina
thank you
had a
for highlighting Black girls going
yes,
missing.
Yeah.
yes,
And
Yeah.
I gotta say, as a girl from the South who remembers family members that just are gone and not missing, but they're gone. Like, thank you for also elevating those stories because people do did escape and still do escape trauma in those ways just by going off and starting a whole new life. And that isn't celebrated, maybe sometimes rightfully so, but people have to cope how they have to cope.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy reading both aspects of it, and I've been telling people 5-star too, and being a little mysterious without really making it a little mysterious. And there's so much. It was so many different storylines that didn't feel like so many different storylines, which
Yeah.
was really, really good. It
Mhm.
was well written, very well.
Yeah.
Very,
That's
very
a great description for it. And
Mhm.
I do love that we're starting to talk about Black girls go missing and nobody cares. I also read a book recently about Indigenous women go missing.
Wow.
And
Yes.
if we think we're marginalized, imagine
Yeah.
the Indigenous culture.
Yeah.
So I love stories like that. And I saw my family in that story. I saw my grandmother saying to me, "Oh no, we don't talk about Carol." I could see my big mom saying that. So it felt very personal.
Yep.
I'm so glad. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. And I see Christina's
Yep. She has a
question in the
question in
comments.
there. What made you decide on Raleigh, North Carolina as one of the locations?
Yeah, so my mom grew up in Raleigh, and when I started to think about the story, and I imagined myself like I put myself in Sydney's shoes, I like the idea of her trying to solve this mystery from afar with a relative that about a portion of her family that she's not super close to, and so it just immediately came to mind that Raleigh would be a good option for that, and it was good for me too because I learned so much about the area that my mom grew up in. My uncle still lives there. I took a trip out there while I was revising the novel, and he took me on a driving tour of all the locations I mentioned in the story, so I can just make sure that it felt true to home. But yeah, it was nice to kind of explore an area of my family's history by setting so much of the story there.
Very cool.
I was
Lena,
saying,
Oh,
I'm sure I loved the book for that too. Thank you for your nods to all of my, spots on the West Coast.
because like I live in LA. I used to grow up. I mean, I used to live in the Bay Area.
Mhm.
I mostly grew up in the Metro Detroit area, so I feel like all of the locations had some sort of a connection to
Mhm.
either me or my family. Yeah, thank you all so much. This was such a pleasure.
yeah,
What a
thank you.
fun conversation.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, Kristen. This was amazing. We wish you much success with this book and your next one. We look forward to it coming out next year. I'm sure all of us will be purchasing and diving in. So we're excited to see what's next from you.
Thank you all so much. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, what a beautiful community you've built here, Renee.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
This is
you. These
amazing.
are most of my regulars that come. There's actually a couple that are missing that are normally on here every month with us. But yeah, it's been amazing to have these ladies on here and just there's some of us that like text literally every day. Like it's just we've built friendships because of this group. And so yeah, it's been
I
awesome.
love that. And I'm
Yeah.
not surprised because readers are the best people.
Yes, now I just need to get Caprice. She doesn't have time to do anything. So I need to get her to like jump on or read or something, but I know she's exhausted teaching language arts. She's like, I don't have time for this. Like these kids
I can understand that.
drive her, these kids in the AI and Chat GPT, they drive her
Oof,
nuts on the daily. I know.
I
So
believe that. I
I
believe
feel for
that.
her totally. So thank you so
Thank
much, y'all.
you.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you,
Bye. Thanks,
Kristen.
Thank
Renee. Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.